I've got it back apart. Now I'm going to drill these holes out just ever so slightly. Alright, let's see. Other ones do I need? That one. And my pencil. Need that one. That one. That one. And probably all those. Okay, now we have these two that we managed to get in there the first go round. Come on now. There we go. So these were the larger ones, but the problem was they went through everything except for the metal. And they got to go through that metal to get a good bite. So now, we're going to try these. So we're going to need this. Now that looks more substantial. Okay. Now we're flipped over the wrong way. Everything's all discombobulated here. Alright. Try this again. First off, let's try this more middle one. Give me a little more balance that way. Alright. Okay. Yeah. And we're going to see. It's got that one lined up. See if I can line this one back here up so that I feel like it's going to pull down a lot tighter this time. So we want to be able to have our rest of our stuff lined up. Ah, oh, come on. Line you up here. Right here. What do this. Here. That part. That part. That lines that one up automatically. Do that. Oh. That don't come with that one. Crap. Maybe about that one. Yeah. That one. Lines that one up. And just gotta do this one up and down. Maybe. Alright, I think we're good if we can get the rivet through there. Oh, this is so ridiculous. Okay. I'll squeeze that a little bit, but not enough to pop it off. Alright, because now I need to get another one in somewhere else to get it to line up before I squeeze that down. So we're going to go for back end. cardboard hole's too small. Alright, we're just going to stick the pin through there. There we go. Alright, now just repeat that, 4 more times. But actually we got to take this one where it's lined up here, but cardboard's not. Cardboard. Almost. Come on. Come on. Hey there. Ow. Now let's start it. This is not going proper. No, you son of a bitch. Okay, so anyway, rather than just y'all watching me continue to struggle, when I get this done, we'll move on to the next part. Alright, after fighting with those rivets yesterday, and I finally got these put together, so now it's time to start covering. So, I got him laid up here, but I think the best way to do this is going to be measure what I need. So we're going to go wrapped around there, and it needs to come down at least to there. So it'll actually trim off flush with that. And come down to here, so we need 22 inches that way. And we want to wrap around at least an inch on each end. So we'll need 44 that way. So, when I say 22 by 44, and I have no chalk. Wonderful. 44, double check. It's 22, right? Yeah, 22. Alright. Just cut 2 pieces that size. Now, not absolutely necessary to be square, but I would rather just make it square. Makes it easier when I go to cut the next piece of whatever I'm going to cut out of this. Alright, so now we take, see if our pencil will mark on this. Oh yeah. Alright. So I've got my square, my straight line across here. So, and we know we need 44. So we're going to go with our 44 right here. Square. Square it up. We're going to go up a little ways. Marker 44 again. Now, we're going to go 22. Our lines for our 44. So there's our 22, and then mark our 44 line down. Alright? Now we're going to go 22 again. Okay, so there's one, and then we'll mark another one the same like to give us both of our covers. Then the foam, we'll have to see on the foam. There's a couple of tricks on that, because for one thing, the original board had the foam was glued to the board, and then I think the material was glued to the foam. I typically will glue my foam to my cover, but usually I'm sewing something in there. This didn't have any sewing, but that's going to be really plain, really blah looking. So I have a scrap here that I've cut off. I'm going to keep for another project. I got a motorcycle seat. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to look at it and see if I can maybe put a little bit of design in it. It did have like a corner of it that had carpet, so we're doing all vinyl because the carpet was a problem. That's what caused the deterioration of the board. So yeah. But what I'm thinking is maybe put a line across where the carpet was and put some seams in it somewhere just for a little bit of design. I cannot see that from here. There we go. Your pencil, when you mark on vinyl with a pencil, sometimes you got to get at just the right angle to be able to see it. Because basically the lead has to reflect the light to be visible. And so if you're at the wrong angle, you just can't see it. So there's one. Now we'll pull this down. And we'll do our what's even worse is when you can't even see the pencil. There we go. You want to have your stick as square as you can eyeball it, at least. Because if you got it like this, that's going to throw your measurement off. Of course, now this is going to wrap around that contoured panel and be trimmed, but it's just good practice to always try to keep your material straight and square. That way, the next thing you cut, if it needs to be square, you're already good. That's just kind of a pet peeve of mine anyway, so. Alright. And of course, the more times you go over with your pencil, the better the mark will be. Now you can, of course, mark vinyl with ink, and some vinyls you kind of have to because For instance, a charcoal gray, you cannot mark with pencil because it will not show up whatsoever. Black is kind of hard. If you got a light color, pencil works great. Like I say, with this you got to get just right to be able to see it. That's okay, I'm used to it. Alright, there's my two pieces. Now we'll roll the rest of my black up. Alright, so now we'll flip this over. And we'll take one of these and lay on it. And see that we've got what we need. Alright, so that looks pretty good. We can go around there. All that looks good. Now, the next thing I need is my phone, and I got to decide if I'm going to put any pleats in, and what style pleats I'm going to do, or just what I want to do in general. Now, a good way to figure that out is to take your board, and also we want to look at the board with the armrest. So there's no point in putting pleats that's going to go in behind this. And it looks like, why is there two sets of holes and there's only one place that this armrest is going to go? Does it go there or does it go there? That's a good question. It goes there obviously because these line up to here. And then there's a missing spot there. Interesting. Alright. So your armrest goes here. Takes up most of the panel. There probably isn't a whole lot of point of even trying to put much design into it. Maybe a diagonal pleat or something here. Or some running back this way. Just because, like I said, it's kind of taken up with this, and then you got the trim piece. So I think we're just going to go with plain because that's the way it was. It makes it easier for me. Alright, so that being said, cover to the side. Now we need our sew through. Now I have a whole nother roll, but we're going to try and use this off of this one here because, you know, I as well as use it. We'll just go over here. Alright, now on this, we want a little more precision. However, I think what I'm going to do is do like I typically do and cut it out a little larger. And then I will go back and after I glue it, I'll trim it down. Because if you try to trim it specifically to fit this board, then it's very difficult to glue in place. So if you allow a little extra to where you can get it on there, then go back and glue it, it makes it much easier. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to lay it up there and cut around it, allowing about 1 inch around it. Alright, now what it's got to do is got to be able to come up past this. So you want to go up there and then go straight across. Alright, so that this comes here, and there again, you do not want this coming down over this edge for the fact that this gets a piece of trim on it. And you have to glue the material to that, which I will run it down here as far as I can. Alright, so we'll have to go open up the other side, and we're going to have to do a little work on these boards. I think I sanded this other one, so it's a little smoother, but I got to go back over this one. And trying to do it with the belt sander is not ideal, so I'll probably do it with the flapper wheel. Okay, got an example right here of a door panel with more design in it. So on this one, this one was more complicated because you got more colors, but you take your foam, you can see in there, and you glue it to your material, then you sew your pattern, and then in this case I had this glued to the material, sewed this pattern and all, and then glue it to the board. So that's typical how we do it. And then of course you glue it to the board, and then you pull it around the back and staple it on the back side. But these door panels are going plain, so we're going to do it just the opposite. We're going to glue the foam to the board, trim it down, and then we'll put our material on. Now, the thing about it is, this will be a little easier, but also it'll be easier to trim, is the main thing. Because when you do what I was describing on the other one, you have to glue the material, and then you have to go back and very carefully trim out your foam. Because like I was saying, you don't want your foam coming over the edge of the board, because that makes it thicker on the edges, and then then you get fitment issues. I've ran into that once before. So this is the one I just took the grinder to, I think. I need to hit it right there a little bit. I want to make it as smooth as I can. And when grinding your edges, you want to go pulling towards the edge, because if you pull the other way, it will tend to ravel. So, alright. Now I gotta find which piece goes for that one. It should be this one right here. Although I realize the way I cut these, it's going to put the fabric side towards the vinyl. Now, I don't necessarily need sew through. I could use regular 1/4 inch foam since I'm not sewing through it. But I don't know that it makes a whole lot of difference which way it goes actually. Since, like I said, I'm not sewing through it, so. So my typical, let me get the fan going. We'll make some noise here. My typical way of doing something like this is you take and do exactly what I did there, fold it back. Where we've been working on this top piece, we want to take a little brake parts cleaner, my favorite cleaner, for prep work especially, and just wipe this fiberglass off where we got all this dust and stuff. And then we got to get it down in here. Because down in here is where it's going to be very hard to get that to stay. Which doesn't matter a whole lot, because when you come back and put the piece that goes in there, the insert will hold that in there. But on my foam, I'm going to have to like trim this. I'll show you. So we need the other piece of foam now. Make sure it's reaching on all sides. And once you got it centered up where you want it, and this is where it comes into play of the folding it back part. because when you fold it back like that, that makes sure that you've got it in place where you want it. Now, this spray glue tends to clog itself up, so you want to pull that little wad of snot out, or it's going to shoot everywhere but where you want it. And this is the high temp $20 a can stuff. Don't be fooled and think, oh, just 3M spray glue is fine. No, that's not going to do the trick. It's okay for gluing some stuff, but which actually, this being foam, it would probably be okay. But this being automotive is the main reason we're going with the high temp, because typical temperatures in a car can reach well over 100 degrees in the summer. So you gotta let that tack a little bit. This has a higher tack time than the average spray glue. If you don't let it tack enough, then it don't want to stick. The stupid thing is when it doesn't stick to you, that's when it's ready. Kind of seems opposite, but that's how it works. Okay, now we'll fold back the other side, repeat. Now you may notice I tend to go around my perimeter and then come back and fill in the middle. That's just my technique. I don't guess you got to do it any certain way, as long as you get both surfaces covered. But you want to keep from getting like big blobs. You want it as evenly as possible. Alright, this one's ready to be trimmed. So it works better if you use very light pressure and just let the knife do the work. Honestly, I believe it's going to be easier anyway. Just let them ride again the board. Now this top part just needs to be flush, so Alright. So, that's got our foam on our board, trimmed down. Fiberglass fluff stuff to it. Now, I'm gonna make sure we don't have anything on that. Grab one of our covers here. Let's see here. Move this out of the way now. Alright, now we're going to lay our cover down. We're going to center it up where we need it to be. Now we're going to get a hold of the cover and the board. And down like so. Alright, should have really cleaned my table off better. Still got dust from the fiberglass. Alright, let's see. Oh, yeah. This can is almost empty. I grabbed another one while I was in there. Oh. You want to try to kind of make sure you don't get any bubbles. You don't want to stretch the material. You want to just kind of smooth it down. Curious if anybody actually going to watch this and try to do their own door panels. Which, I mean, some people will try to do their own door panels anyways. If you don't have a clue, you're going to make a mess. So I guess the point would be for those who want to attempt to do their own door panels, this is a little bit of a guideline of a DIYer could do this door panel because there's no sewing involved. All you really need is your materials and your spray glue. But here's the kicker. By the time you buy your materials you need, the spray glue you need, the sew foam you need, you can probably pay somebody else to do it cheaper. Well, I guess that depends on who and what they charge. But for what I'm charging them, they couldn't have done this themselves. Very warm today, so this stuff's drying pretty quick. You notice I kind of tend to roll it on and then smooth it out. So that's got our basic part of this panel done. I'm gonna get the other one caught up to this one, and then we'll move back inside and do the other parts. So when I'm done with this video, y'all will see the finished product. Okay, here's the point where DIY becomes impractical unless you have a staple gun. Because you have to buy a staple gun and an air compressor, then yeah, you're going to spend way more than it would cost you to get these done. But yeah, for somebody who has some equipment. Oh, by the way, those staples I just put in there were 5/16. Let me show you that real quick. So, super short staples so that they don't go all the way through. So this part right up here I'm going to have to glue. It's going to give me a little bit of a fit right there because of the corner. But anyways, I'll have to go back and glue that. So when I get close to the corner, I start pulling away from that corner. And that makes your corner go right around there nicely. The straight parts, you just pull it straight. Now I am going to have to work around these where the clips go. Trim that back out. There again, we're coming around the corner. This corner, it's going the other way, so we're going to have to we'll trim a little off here. And we're going to have to basically take the middle of that, cut it there, there, there. that's all I can staple. I'll have to go back and trim this out. But that's got the main part down here done. Then I have to cut this, put in the little piece that goes there, and then, oh joy, we can do 2 more pop rivets up here. And like I said, I'm gonna have to glue this corner. I gotta kind of figure out how to make it lay in there right. Something like that. It'll have to glue like that, and then come over like that. So I'll need to cut this down to there, where this part can glue like that. And then this front corner has to glue as well. And it will go in here and glue, but it's going to have to cut like this. And then this part here come in there like that. Let that fold under, and then our trim piece goes on top and pop rivets is in place. So I guess I can try and glue this down as much as possible. Before I do, I'm going to mark where my holes are so that I can find them more easily. I'm going to do that down here on the cardboard where I can see it. Now that's just going to help me find where I have to punch the holes in the vinyl. Alright, I'll take this back out there and glue these ends. Alright, I've got everything glued. This end, I managed to get glued in there and wrapped and glued that. And then this end I got all glued down. So now we go by our little marks and try and find the holes for the rivets. Which is trickier than you might think. Okay, and we'll see what I can do about trying to finish this one here up. Still got to do the other one, but won't happen today. But this can finish my video because I only need to show y'all one. So this wood piece goes in here. So I got to make this grooved where we can get this down in here. So we're going to come back about an inch from the end, and we're going to split this cover up. I'm going to try and stay in about the center of this groove. Something like so. Now, I have to cut these back into the corners a little bit. Let that go down in there a little better. Biggest thing is you don't want to get too close to your edges. But it still has to cover. Let me see if I can uncover the holes a little better. That seems to be part of the problem. Let's see. So all I can see is pink fuzz sticking through. Where this back here, let's see. Same with here out. The holes are. And that's the other thing. There's only 3 fasteners holds that stupid strip in there. All right, now let's see. Let's try warming it back up. Alright, so we're going to have to get him face down here. Be able to smash that in there. And our big washer, we're not going to get that little small washer thing in there. It's barely going to get just the one washer and the nut. I have to use the socket, but I think I'm not even going to use the drill because, like I said, this is in that brittle plastic. This is a terrible design. Okay. I need to swap out the washer on this one because it's not got the big one. It's a little rough on the thumb. Let's see here. And that one I can't even get to. I don't know if these metal tabs are supposed to be there in that position or what. They're not on the driver's door, so don't know nothing about that. Just working with what I'm brought. Okay, that's about as tight as I can get that because it's trying to sink in, and so that's got that. Alright. Now, according to this, I need another hole up here. This will go in the back set of these slots, and then there's some screws goes in through these holes, and then there's another slot. So unfortunately that means I got to cut holes in my new door panel in order to put the armrest on, which is kind of typical. So we know for sure these two. And this one. these? No, not those two, these two. Okay. Now, we didn't even make a scratch on part of that. Okay. And then, regulator to punch a hole through from the back side so we can find the other bolt holes here. Well, 3 holes, actually. So we just want to make a basic hole. Which actually, probably what I need to do is take my hole punch set. Stand one just one size smaller, it'll fit down in there. Stupid. Alright, I'm not sure if that did anything or not. No, not really. Alright, so I'm going to have a piece of wood and put under there. Instead of just the cardboard. So these little hollow hole punches is what I punched all these holes with and had to make those. And that was a whole ordeal in itself. Like I said, I wasn't originally intending to make a video out of this, but I thought the fiberglass in the part was a little interesting. And since I did that, I might as well do the rest of it. Okay. We're not doing too well with these. Okay, there we go. Now, these. Over back here, there's a couple more slots. Well, alright. Now, before I put this on, starting a little bit. There's also another hole needs to be made up here. For the end bolt, which I don't know why that didn't get marked. I guess because the panel was in bad shape, I didn't even see it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell there was a hole there. Oh, okay, it was up here. Okay, so that, I'm assuming it's going to be about a 1/4 inch bolt. So we're going to need this bigger hole over here.
Here'd you do. Here to do it on first stage.
Well, this is not going to be cooperative. Let's see. The thing with this one is I didn't even cut the hole in the board, so. And also, it would have been helpful if I had my heavier hammer. I don't know where it went. This sucker ain't even showing up over here. I'm going to have to find a bigger hammer. Little one just ain't going to do it. Well, it made an indentation that time, still didn't cut all the way through. need to do here is take this foam out here without cutting through the vinyl. Now, we want to cut the vinyl in a Y on each end, staying back about a 1/4 inch from the actual corner. This is where the door handle will be. Alright, so then you take your little flaps and just pull them down here and staple them down. There's actually some kind of rivets in them, but there, and slots there, insert slot A into tab B type thing here. Well, the rest of them's going alright. That one's not wanting to. Ah, there we go. Oh, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I've got to punch into the hole for those wires to go out, and this will get the screws in there once I get this flat down like that. But there's 2 little wires that goes out through there, and I got to punch a hole for them. So they need to go right there. So now let's pull him back off there now that I got it wrestled on there. And the hole punch that I just had should be good. Maybe disappeared. Actually, let's go a little bigger one, because this has got to fit 2 wires through it. these holes that I missed is because the board was in such bad shape that couldn't really even see part of them. Alright, now, so that will allow these to poke right through there, like so. Now, these in there, these in there, and then these last ones, just the stubborn ones a while ago. Here we go. Alright. Let's get all our little tabs through. So now, what we want to do is take our pliers, make sure them's pulled in tight, and that one can go up that way, and this one will go down this way because there's a screw right above it. Now these, we need to take and catch this, pull it up there good and tight, like so. Here. Now there's 3 screws goes in there, and the speaker hole will do the same thing that did up there. Unfortunately, I don't really know if I'm going to even try to do the speaker mounting holes, because I don't know if they're going to put the same speakers back. I may not even cut the speaker hole out. I may just let them do that, because I don't have the speakers that's going to go in it. There was one speaker in there, and this thing is garbage. This is a factory speaker. It's a Philips, but factory speaker, and I'm sure that it's absolute trash. So I'm not even going to mess with that. The hole is there. The shop that's working on it does paint and body, so they should be able to figure that part out, I guess. We'll see. But yeah, I got my 4 screws goes in there. But that's basically it for this door panel. This gets a belt bolt in it when it mounts. I probably will see what I can do about some kind of rivets in these bottom 4 right here. But other than that, that's pretty much got it. Got to repeat the process on the other one. Hopefully I'll get it done tomorrow and have these done, ready to go out of here. And moved on to the next thing. So, would I recommend DIY on a door panel like this? Well, that depends on your skill set and your equipment. If you've never done something like this, and you don't have at least a staple gun, yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But, you know, if you do and you want to attempt it, well, there's kind of some basics of how they go. This is a very basic panel because, like I said, there's no pleats or anything, and the procedure would have been different if there was. And it's a lot more tricky because you got to get everything lined up exact and all. So this style is a little easier to do, but you know, still has some steps. And when you run into one with some broken plastic, you've got to get creative with that. So anyway, I guess that's it for now. Later.